Not many of you might know that I'm a product manager for a Jira plugin called At a Glance. At a Glance is available in the Atlassian marketplace, can be used to collect data from various sources to stitch together a story from the time team works on a feature until that feature is delivered to the customer. I want to add a new observability feature to my Jira plugin, and I like to create an evidence-based business case that is based on scientific and market research. In this video, I'm going to share a combination of 3 AI tools that I used to create an evidence-based business case for my new idea. Hi, my name is Anil Jaising. I'm a certified Scrum trainer with Scrum Alliance, an entrepreneur running Concepts and Beyond, a premier training and coaching company, and an adjunct professor at NYU in the graduate program of project management. I'm on a mission to help leaders, teams, and organizations drive product innovation and build profitable businesses. Subscribe to my channel for stories of innovation fueled by leadership, business agility, and product management. The At a Glance Jira plugin collects data from Jira, continuous integration tools like Bitbucket and GitHub, build tools like Travis CI, Jenkins, and Circle CI, and quality data from Sonar. My hypothesis as a scientist is if I add observability with AI to my current tool, it's going to increase the team's productivity by 35%, and my software downloads are going to increase by 20%. Now, I needed to conduct research to find out what does the scientific community think of this idea, as well as my market for this idea. Is it really going to sell? Is it going to be successful? So I started to use a prompt to conduct market research in an AI tool called CLAUDE. Now, I could use a tool like ChatGPT, but the reason I'm using CLAUDE is because I think that CLAUDE has better reasoning power and also the ability to sound more human-like. Recently, ChatGPT has come up with a new model, 4.5, which is in preview, that might do something like that. But at the moment, I want to use CLAUDE so that I can get my business case together. So I started with the prompt so that CLAUDE can help me create a business plan. Let's see what CLAUDE does with this prompt. At the moment, CLAUDE did a great job at finding information that was accessible publicly and provided some pros and cons between doing this versus not doing it. Also gave me a high-level view of the market consideration, pricing structures. Not really happy with this because this gave me information which is really much more generic of what CLAUDE is currently trained with, potentially doesn't have access to the internet, and doesn't give me enough information so that I can work through it. So I tried ChatGPT. ChatGPT, with the same prompt, gave me a little bit more thorough analysis. It gave me a lot more about the customer segmentation, the target market, potentially the size of the market, and what the needs and preferences of my customers could be. I wasn't yet satisfied with this information. I needed more. So how do you go about getting more? I really needed data from scientific experts, hone in on the observability market to find out what the scientific community thinks about observability with AI. I went to this tool called ELLICIT. ELLICIT finds research reports and research paper from the scientific community. And I put in a prompt like this. The result of this prompt was an analysis with 10 papers. These 10 papers are not the only ones that ELLICIT can find. But since I'm using a free version, that's all I get. It creates a summary of what all of these reports have in them and makes that summary available to me. I downloaded the entire PDF of the summary. Then I went in and looked at each one of these papers that it brought back. And I searched in Google for these papers. Many a times I found a free copy of that paper, and I went ahead and downloaded that into a directory. I went and did that for all papers. Sometimes I got the actual paper. Sometimes I got a presentation and a YouTube video. Not only did I have a summary of the reports, I had the actual reports and in certain cases, some descriptions of the reports. I took all of that and put it into a directory. Now I had the latest information about what the scientific community thinks about this feature. Now I needed to do market research. I went to another tool called Perplexity. Perplexity is a great tool that finds research and sources of that research and puts everything together. Now I added another prompt here and I asked Perplexity to find information about this feature and find the sources for these information. It goes about and finds a lot of market research. Not just that, it also gives me the sources and I go ahead and download those sources again into a directory. Perplexity found 8 different sources. In the summary below, it also cites these sources. I copy the summary as well as I copy the information from all of these sources and download them as text. And again, I put it into the same directory. This is how I have now collected information about what the scientific community thinks about this feature, as well as what is the latest market research. Now I need to come up with a business case. And in order to do that, I take all of this information and feed it into Claude. Now I can use Claude and create a new project, and I can call it Observability with AI. Then it asks me if I have any knowledge that I can share. I go to the directory where I have all this information stored. I select all of them and I upload into Claude. All of these uploaded files are here. I also give Claude specific instructions. You're an experienced and strategic product manager working with customers and stakeholders. Think step by step, break down large tasks, and ask questions as necessary. Now, these are the instructions which it starts with, and then I add my prompt to have it create the business case. Once I put in the prompt, now it creates a great executive summary with all of the information that it has grabbed from the knowledge that I fed it. It has tons of information about the customer segments, the needs that the customers might have. It tells me who the direct competition is and what is the value of my Jira plugin versus a standalone tool. It creates a SWOT analysis of the competition versus my tool if my tool had this feature. It also tells me what positioning I should take and how should I differentiate my tool versus my competition. It then tells me how to go about and validate my tool and figure out the go-to-market strategy. Now we're going to talk a lot about validation in my next video. It also gives me pricing or sample pricing that I could potentially charge for the tool like this. Now, what if I needed to share it with my customers and stakeholders? I cannot do this with the text that is generated. I want to use a good PowerPoint that will summarize this information. So how do I make Claude do that? Well, the way I did that is save all this information into a text file. And then I added that text file as knowledge that Claude would take in. This time, instead of using the regular Claude 3.7 version, I used the extended version. This would give enough horsepower for this prompt to work. And then I gave it a prompt like this, which would let me create a professional presentation using McKinsey style. It generated this presentation, which now I can take, copy and paste into Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Slides and share it with my customers and stakeholders for an initial conversation. I could go ahead and then validate this idea. I'm going to use a lot of prompts again to validate my business idea. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing how I do that. The prompts that I used are in the description below, so you can try them, download them. I will also provide them on my website. Let me know in the comments if this video was useful for you. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please add to the comments any feedback that you have, and please subscribe to my video. And looking forward to seeing you again next time.